Hello fellow students watching this video, my name is Jose Banegas and I'll be giving you a few tips or techniques that you'll use when studying. To start off this video, I would like to give a little bit of background about myself. In school, I wasn't the best of students. When a test date would come up, what I would do is that I would not study at all, or I would cram the whole, let's say, 3 weeks of information into one night, which is something impossible to do. Because what happens is that you retain just fragments of the information, or you don't retain information at all, which it happened to me all the time. But today, I'll give you some techniques that you'll hopefully use, and you'll do better. To start off, the first technique would be not to cram everything the night before the test. Because as I told you before, you don't retain information at all, or the information you retained is just in fragments. The second tip would be to pay attention in class. That's the best one. Pay attention in class, because if you pay attention only just by paying attention, your brain, because the classes are 50 minutes long, your brain can retain better that information that you heard in class, and by taking notes you reinforce that information you have retained, which makes it easier at the time to study, because when you study you're not analyzing information you haven't seen, you're analyzing information you have already seen and you already know about. Another tip would be to study in groups. Groups are one of the best ways to study, because when you study in groups you make yourself little tests between your group members. Let's say I ask the person in front of me what this is, and then he or she asks me back what that is, and then we make a mini tests which are really great. Another tip would be taking regular tests, but not in group, by yourself. What you're doing is you're testing yourself to see what you know and what you don't know. It shows you where the gaps of information are, and by taking those mini tests, regular tests, you'll be reinforcing that information, and by the day of the real test, you'll do great. Another option, what some people do is that they listen to music while they study, but recent studies shows that certain type of musics help a little bit in the concentration at studying, but music generally doesn't help in concentration. It just unfocuses you and you lose track on what you're studying. Also, in regards with music, usually your music is in your phone, and one technique given in this article I read before said that phones are the biggest distraction there is at the time of study. What you want to do is to place your phone not like on the other side of the room or turn it off. No, what you want to do is just put it in silence, or just put it in airplane mode, where you won't be receiving constant texts from your friends or your girlfriend or boyfriend, which will help you focus more on what you're studying. Another topic would be to study what you learned that day. For example, in biology, let's say, if you go to your room and you read what the notes you took that day, then on the day of the test you won't be as worried as someone who fell asleep in class and didn't pay attention at all, because they don't know what the topic is, and they'll literally have to take the class again in a space time of 2 hours, which the original time requires like 8 hours, which is wrong. Another technique that people use is that what was the other technique? Oh, they take I think I already talked about the regular tests. Yes, the regular tests. What else? There's something else. Sorry, I won't edit this video, so this pause will be in the video. So I apologize beforehand. Let me check here. As always, I'll tell you a story. Once I decided to take I'm talking shit right now. Make flashcards, study. Alternate study spaces. What this means is that you change the place where you study. So let's say you the first test you studied sitting on a couch. The next time you study for the same class, you'll study on another couch. Because what this does is that although some people swear by library, cognitive scientists suggest that alternating study spaces is a more effective way to retain information. Studies in homework groups, flashcards. Some people try to read the whole notes or they make their own little notes, but studies shows that making flashcards helps you retain information. Take tests, sleep, don't categorize yourself, but what this means is that don't say to yourself that, oh, I'm a auditory learner or I'm a visual learner. No, everyone is a learner, and it's more important to figure out your study strategies rather than your learner strategies. Go to class, that's the most obvious one. If you don't go to class, it's obvious that you'll do wrong, unless you're a super smart person that doesn't need class or anything at all. Don't immerse yourself in subject material. This means in keeping with the age-old proverb that values quality over quantity, scientists have found that immersion is not an effective method of study. The New York Times reports rather than sticking to one subject and spending hours attempting to master it, you should switch between a few related topics. Switch to a few related topics, which is less boring than studying just one topic. Also, manage your time. This is like one of the biggest points there is, especially in the college you're in. Zamorano is a place where time is gone really fast. If you don't manage your time wisely, then you won't have time to do anything at all. Also, yeah, that's it. Those are the few those are the few strategies that I have come up with that'll help you get good grades, that'll help you have more time to socialize, and yeah, thank you for listening. Bye bye.